follow-up on the exhaust manifold changes and fixes. So after welding all the cracks and flattening the flanges, we have the manifolds bolted onto the block, or to the heads, and then we have the crossover attached. All the exhaust is solid, the turbo is mounted up, everything's together. Now, since welding the manifolds, the turbo sits lower in the engine bay. The crossover barely sits above the transmission case. I'm hoping that doesn't cause too much issues. We have a massively upgraded transmission cooler on the engine now. Hopefully the radiant heat doesn't cause too much issues there. Other thing is, both of the front and rear clamps from the crossover to the manifolds weren't fully seating correctly. So the side of the connection closest to the engine on both, so the front of the rear connector and the rear of the front connector both had a little bit of a gap in there. Shoved copper RTV in and clamped everything together. Hopefully it's enough to stop the leaks, but we really won't be able to get much better than that without replacing the whole hot side. Yeah, with how the downpipe is set up, the hot side and downpipe would have to get replaced. The downpipe bolts onto the rear engine mount, so the downpipe can barely be moved. So obviously the downpipe determines a big portion of where the turbo sits, and obviously the turbo is hard connected to the front manifold, so there's really not much flexibility in here for adjusting how everything sits without changing lengths of pipes and cutting and welding, and that's not in the budget right now. So we gotta hope that the copper RTV stays sealed, and then yeah, we'll probably keep the boost turned down most of the time so we don't generate too much heat in the engine bay. Yeah, and we'll see how long that lasts.